I remember being at school laughing any time I heard somebody say that they prefer Mac over Windows. And this is particularly before the iPhone came out. Having a Mac was a kind of a niche. You only ever had one, in my opinion, if you're graphic designing. And that was it really, at least to my knowledge. And there was no other reason for having it. Majority of software in the world worked mainly with Windows. The majority of schools, workplaces had Windows. Windows was free. It could run on any computer or any laptop, and you can customize it how you wanted. And Mac was just so restrictive and so boring. Oh, and the biggest thing for me when I was in school was that gaming was really bad on the Mac. Hardly anything ran. And the software packages and games as well, they cost so much more. Things changed when the iPhone came out, and it drastically changed for Apple. I mean, with the iPhone, I remember again laughing at a touchscreen phone, as they were quite slow back then and it killed the battery. And obviously I'm not laughing now. In fact, I happily embraced the iPhone and the MacBook many years later. When it comes to Mac versus Windows now, I think it's clear because the Mac has a larger share. I do think that the iPhone has helped its cause, and Apple has realized that having more people with an iPhone meant more exposure for people to the Apple ecosystem, and I think they've done a fantastic job. So I'm going to detail 5 reasons why I think macOS is better than Windows. Reason 1, Apple ecosystem. This means that Apple devices can communicate with each other very easily. If you have a MacBook, iPhone, and an iPad, for instance, you can seamlessly drop files between them, share devices such as the AirPods, iMessage between them, and access your keychain with all of your passwords. Also part of this ecosystem are the first-party peripherals, the Magic Keyboard, the Magic Mouse 2, and the AirPods. Now you can get third-party cheaper versions of all these devices, but when you do connect them up, something just isn't right. Either they have quirks or they're just not good. First-party Apple peripherals just work and they're the way to go. Reason 2, pre-bundled software. Now Apple includes its software packages such as Pages, Keynotes, iMovie, and they're all free of charge. Windows, on the other hand, gets you to download them, install a trial, because later on they expect you to pay for it. Now, the software packages that run straight out of the box are particularly decent for macOS. In particular, iMovie. I've actually been using iMovie for all my YouTube videos, and they're a really good start for anyone looking to make videos. I have to admit, with Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, which are the Mac equivalent of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, I don't actually use them a lot. You can open up PowerPoint documents and Word ones too, but the fonts don't translate over well. If you've got picture and boxes, then good luck, because that could possibly all mess up. Now, I'm not saying that Apple's free software is better. It's a reason that macOS is better, because they are free and it gives you that good starting point. And they are decent if you did all of your work on it. Again, I think the best of the bunch is iMovie, which can compile up to 4K projects, and it's improved a lot in the last few years. Reason 3. Boot camp. You can run Windows on a Mac laptop. Yes, there will be a performance hit as Windows isn't optimized for the Mac hardware. Now, I do believe with the M1 variants, it's gone. You can't do boot camp anymore, but you do have an alternative, which is using the software Parallels, and it allows virtualization, although it runs things a lot slower. Reason 4. A more secure OS. The nature of a less customizable and more closed operating system means that it's harder to write malware and create viruses for a Mac. And if you do, Apple are very good at shutting it down as soon as possible, which makes a MacBook very secure. In fact, it's such a pleasure to use a MacBook without having to install an antivirus. Reason 5. With macOS comes the excellent hardware. You just simply can't miss out the hardware. If you want to access the operating system, you must have an Apple product. I think this is just the way it should be. And Apple realizes this, and honestly, it's for the better. It means that Apple can optimize the devices to work with the OS in order to give us a seamless and less problematic experience. With Windows, you can slap it on most hardware, desktops, laptops, which is great, and it's a lot cheaper, but it can cause problems, because if there's a problem with a component, you have to figure out which component it is, change it in time if there isn't a driver update, and then you might get a problem with a new component. Because that's the problem with Windows, it might not communicate properly with that component. Then crashes can happen, battery life could be sucked out because it's not optimized, or worse still, the blue screen of death. Not to say macOS doesn't have its problems, but it'll have a lot less. I completely take back everything I ever said about macOS and MacBooks and iPhones in the past. Anyway, those were just a few reasons from me. As usual, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and until next time. That just sounds so good.